Greetings. Thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and today we're going to look at this Lionsteel Dom Barlow. Dom is D-O-M, and it's the Sheepsfoot. They have two other shapes available. They also have a clip point or a spear point if you prefer. I like the Sheepsfoot that's almost a Wharncliffe. So it's just a tad over 45 degrees, so it's a Sheepsfoot, but pretty close to 45 degrees. And the materials here, we got a nice looking blade, especially that swedge. That makes it look very nice, very distinctive, and a nice straight edge with a long pull. Lionsteel, and our blade type is M390. You should be able to read that on the ricasso. And then we got titanium bolsters and green canvas micarta for the scales on this one. And we'll come back and look at the details. The reason I got this knife out was because I was doing the roll Shambo challenge this week. So I've got, here's the roll Shambo challenge. So the idea was spell roll Shambo with the knives that are in your collection. So that's what I did here, and I took a picture, and I had to get the Lionsteel out for that because I needed an L. So here we got, I might as well go through them all real quick. So I got a Ramette for R and an Open L. Lionsteel, Leatherman, Spyderco, H&K, AKC. Got a Microtech for the M. Then we got a Buck and a Ontario. So I completed the Roll Shambo challenge. Another thing about Roll Shambo is he's known for making videos where he dives deep onto topics of steel, and I know he's got one on M390 steel, so that's what this one's made out of. So if you want to go find out more about what he says about M390, go check out his video. He also does entertaining live streams 2 times a week, Wednesday and Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, New York time. So if you want, come check out his live streams. They're also fun. So that was the Roll Shambo challenge. But while I had the knife out for the Roll Shambo challenge, I was looking at this knife more closely and admiring it and looking at it. But if you remember what else is happening this week, what's on the schedule, and I was looking at this swedge, and then I thought, what if that's an eye? What does that look like? And then I got the green colors. So all of a sudden it hit me, this kind of looks like the Seahawks symbol. And the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl this week. So that made me move this knife up in the queue. I have a big queue planned of videos to do. So I moved this one up because I was like, whoa, Seahawks, I got to do it this week. Move this one up to the front. So let's see, I've got the Seahawks symbol pulled up over here. We can take a look and see if you think it looks like Seahawks also. So especially look at that swedge on the bird beak. Compared to the swedge, it gives you that vibe. And then if you take the long pull and think of it as the long eye, and then also the green in the eyeball, one of their accent colors on their uniform is green, and then you got the green micarta. So I thought this reminded me of the Seahawks and the Super Bowl this week. So that's what we're doing here. And then let's look at the details of this knife real quick. So we've looked at this really nice swedge, interesting swedge, and it has a completely straight edge, and then the swedge leads into a crown, so it's rounded over on the spine, and then that crown continues into the back spring. So this entire back spring, oops, bumped the camera. This entire back spring is crowned all the way around the heel, and it continues all the way to the termination. Very nice crowned back spring. That's unusual. That's nice. And then we got titanium bolsters, and let's look at the words details here. We got Lionsteel, made in Maniago, Italy. We'll look here at the map here in a second because there's some interesting stuff there. It says CK edition. The C stands for collectors and K stands for knives. So collector knives edition or series, they also call it series. M390 steel, titanium, green canvas micarta, And then look here in the corners, the fit. So the fit of the micarta comes to 90 degrees. Nice fit. And I'll flip around to the back. Check out those 90 degrees. Fits right in there. Nice fit. Gotta hump the micarta is slightly raised above the bolsters, but you can feel it, but it's still pretty close. That's not a problem. Then how's it feel in the hand? We got full 4-finger grip. Like we said, it looked like it was the same in the sweet spot for slip joints. That feels very nice. It's a typical Barlow. Let's do some size comparisons. Let's do it in the closed position. So here's our Lionsteel. I'm not sure when the modern materials on traditional started, but Lionsteel, this has probably been out for like 9 years. They've been doing that. But here's one of the newer offerings from Kaiser. They're kind of new to the slip joint game. They started putting out some slip joints. So here's a Kaiser trestle, and here's a QSP hedgehog. So if you look at those, I lined them up here on these nubs, and they actually look almost just about identical. So right in the sweet spot for size for slip joints. And then let's also compare it to a PM2, because I always do PM2s. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So this is going to be way bigger. Slip joints are usually smaller. The sweet spot for slip joints is a smaller range. Now let's do the measurements. And what about the pull, the walk and talk? So I'll get up close so you can hear it. And then I'm getting a 4. And let's hear the snap. So nice walk and talk, except it's a lighter pull, which I don't have a problem with that. If I were to have my druthers, I like the pulls to be a little bit harder. So all 4 stations, it was a 4. So it's a lighter pull, easy, nice and easy. We've already looked at all the details, and we were going to get length measurements. So we got 3-inch blade, that's right in the sweet spot. And we got 2 5/8 cutting edge. And then we got an overall length of 6 5/8 overall length. And we got a handle length of 3.5 inches. Let's do the weight. So turn this on. Let's give it a tear. And we're getting 2.144, so 2.14 ounces. That is very lightweight. Anything under 3 ounces I call lightweight. And then I also got this separate leather pocket slip, and I got a matching, to match the colors, lanyard. And let's see how much it weighs together as a package. This comes separately, has nothing to do with Lionsteel, but if you have a pocket slip, that'll add to the weight if you're a pocket slip person like me. So let's see how much that weighs. 2.65 ounces, so that's still lightweight, the full package. Very lightweight. And what else do we have to look at here? I was trying to get some lion bling, so came with this little flyer in the box. Lionsteel, and then that background watermark, you can kind of see the lion logo. Lionsteel, and their box says Lionsteel all over it. And then I also thought of this John Wick coin. I'm wearing my watch John Wick style. He wears it under his wrist. So John Wick coins from the John Wick movies. So here we got a lion. I remembered there was a lion on the coin, so I was like, let's bring out the lion coin. And here's some Latin. Ens causa sui. that means generated from itself or self-generating. And then the lion, the king predator, so it's kind of an assassin world in John Wick. King predator. And on the other side, we got some more Latin. We have ex unitate virus. And ex means from, and unitate, unity, strength. So from unity comes strength. Then we got laurel wreath, which is Roman, and it's a very Italian feel to this with the Latin and the symbology. And if you remember in John Wick 2, he went to Rome, Continental de Roma, and he visited the sommelier. And remember, the dessert was the knives. So dessert was the knives. This is very nice dessert here. Very sleek and classy and elegant. And then I got a map here. So we looked at the Seahawks symbol. We looked at this red marker is where Maniago is. So this is all Italy. And here's Rome down here. And it's about a 6 hours drive north to the north part of Rome. And that's where Maniago is. And here's the nearest big city, Venice. So if you're ever traveling to Venice, that's the famous city with the water in the streets. And you can go on the gondola rides, the boats with the long poles. And then Maniago. And then I also dug deeper. So Lionsteel Knives is on the Via La Mola. And I looked up the translation for that, and it was interesting because it's knife related. So mola means grindstone. So this is a famous old knife making city. If you're ever in Venice, you might try to see if you get a factory tour during your trip. Travel not too far over to Maniago and see if you can do that. You probably want to arrange that ahead of time and not try to do it on the fly. Anyway, Via La Mola, so that means, Via means away or off, and Mola, grindstone. So off the grindstone is the street they're on. So that's interesting, one of their major streets, and the street that they're on is knife related. So that's Lionsteel from Italy, Maniago, Italy. So we did the weight, we did the measurements. So what do you say about the Lionsteel Dom? Very sleek, very nice looking, classy. You could wear this to a wedding or a CEO. Premium materials. Micarta, I have some knives with outdoor knives, bushcraft, and tactical knives that have some green micarta, or micarta is a material, and somehow they pull it off and make it look pretty classy on here. So I had my choice of the other materials, but I still went with micarta. I like the look here. Very nice. And I think we've covered everything. So there is the Lionsteel Dom Barlow. I like Barlows. And they're just the right size, just right. And very nice blade, very nice looking. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be doing another video strictly on slip joints, the value of slip joints today. You might like that if you're a slip joint person. Come back. Subscribe now and come back later and you'll get that video. I'm also working on a knife physics. When you push on a blade, where's all the force going? How's it traveling through the pivot? What's happening there? I think knife people would like to hear that video. So I'm working on that one as well. Subscribe now, come back later, find those videos. And I've got a huge queue of videos I'm working on. So thanks for stopping by. Check out my other videos. And I am Skol. And remember, always carry a knife.